putting girls into suitcases.
Yo, so why am I hearing that Oprah had a school for girls and all of them went missing?
These are my girls. These are my girls.
Around the 107 mark, the energy shifted, the jokes faded, the smiles tightened. What had felt like light conversation suddenly carried weight. 50 Cent didn't raise his voice, but he sharpened his point. He suggested that certain predators in the entertainment industry didn't just fall through the cracks. In his view, they were shielded. And protection at that level, he implied, doesn't happen without powerful people at the top allowing it. That's when indirect references to Oprah Winfrey began circulating in online discussions surrounding his comments. For years, 50 has publicly questioned why some elite figures seem to escape serious consequences. Meanwhile, several individuals connected to Jeffrey Epstein have claimed they were dismissed, ignored, or pressured into silence. According to 50's broader argument, patterns like that aren't random. Systems of power don't protect themselves by accident. They do it deliberately. The situation intensified.
So Rose McGowan has put Oprah on blast.
He seemingly suggested in the caption that Oprah knew the Hollywood producer was mistreating women.
And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
No, they eat babies. That is not bullshit. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood.
So there's this secret rooms. They got secret rooms.
Go on, tell me, how do I find the secret?
So when you go in the secret rooms, because they hide it in loads of places, they tie string around and then they put it all around the body, but they're naked, and they got this tattoo on the private with like little piercings.
So in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism.
Whenever this topic comes back into the spotlight, one name almost always follows: Jay-Z. His long, complicated rivalry with 50 Cent has been part of hip-hop history for decades. So when larger industry controversies erupt, online conversations often pull both names into the same frame. Recently, renewed attention has focused on unsealed Epstein-related documents that referenced Jay-Z in a 2019 FBI crisis intake report. That detail is important. A crisis intake report
as well. Yeah. A dog and a cat with interesting names, to say the least.
Yeah. That's Oprah.
That's Oprah.
Yeah.
Okay. Named after the Oprah, and your cat's name is?
Yeah, and Gail.
Gail, Gail.
That in 1996, they woke up inside what they believed was a residence connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and alleged that Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein were present. But an anonymous tip recorded in a file confirms only one thing: that someone made a claim. It does not verify that the event happened as described. Still, the mere appearance of Jay-Z's name in any Epstein-related paperwork has fueled online debate. Some observers point to overlapping celebrity circles from the late 90s and early 2000s, including connections to Sean Combs. When Combs later faced serious legal troubles, 50 Cent openly criticized and mocked him, even announcing plans for a documentary tied to that controversy. For some critics, that reinforced 50's broader narrative about accountability within powerful entertainment networks. Since Combs' incarceration, Jay-Z has not offered extended public commentary on the situation. Given their long professional association, that silence has drawn commentary from some corners of the internet. However, choosing not to speak publicly does not imply guilt or involvement. Online discussions have also revived older rumors about Jay-Z's personal life. Over the years, speculation has questioned the timeline of his early relationship with Beyoncé and alleged past connections to Foxy Brown when she was a teenager. These claims have been denied, dismissed, or remain unproven. No
bombshell footage has surfaced from Africa, where Jay-Z has been accused of running child safaris for Jeffrey Epstein's VIP associates and the global elite.
Over the past year, both Jay-Z and Sean Combs were named in a civil lawsuit that included serious allegations involving the assault of a 13-year-old girl. Both artists have publicly denied the claims and have stated that they did not engage in any wrongdoing. It's critical to separate accusation from outcome. Being named in a civil lawsuit does not mean liability has been established. It does not.
Known for not being a big fan of rap music because of misogynist lyrics and because of the use of the N-word. You obviously feel differently, and a little bit.
She mean a crime has been proven. Civil cases move through a structured legal process where allegations are examined, evidence is reviewed, and both sides present arguments before any ruling is made. But public perception doesn't wait for verdicts. When multiple allegations, regardless of legal status, begin appearing in headlines, repetition alone can influence how people view someone's reputation. In today's digital environment, accusations travel instantly. Legal proceedings, by contrast,
Department of Justice releasing their final batch of files
and the millions of newly released Justice Department records
connected to the late convicted senator Jeffrey Epstein.
They include Epstein's messages with powerful men.
You're the only one who ever yelled at me got away with it, and I take it any time from you. I want to see him get it.
In your thoughts on Donald Trump and what it means for what it means for mass incarceration.
You know what? This is a labor of love from Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Well, then, can I ask you about mass incarceration? Do you think the movement is okay?
What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996. Come on, people.
And by the time he appeared on her show, Jay-Z was already a dominant force in music and an increasingly visible figure in business. But stepping onto Oprah Winfrey's daytime platform introduced him to a television audience far beyond hip-hop culture. The tone of the interview was calm and reflective. He spoke about his upbringing in Brooklyn, the realities of navigating the music industry, and his ambitions outside of entertainment. The conversation leaned less into celebrity and more into growth, discipline, and long-term vision. The framing.
4-year-old singer shared this meme of Oprah kissing Harvey Weinstein on Wednesday that read, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you're the solution." He seemingly suggested in the caption that Oprah knew the Hollywood producer was mistreating women, writing, "You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses."
People mattered. Instead of centering him solely as a rapper, the discussion highlighted entrepreneurship and strategic thinking. For many viewers, it subtly elevated his image, positioning him not just as an artist, but as a mainstream business leader. From that point on, their visible dynamic appeared professional and cordial. There were no public clashes or tension. Rather, it looked like mutual recognition between two highly influential figures. Oprah as a powerhouse in media and cultural storytelling, and Jay-Z as a major force in entertainment and
I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him. Every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
There are some really weird details coming out about Bill Gates' rocky relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. One day, Epstein is offering to get Bill Gates a Nobel Peace Prize through his connections, And then the next day, he's blackmailing Gates about his affair.
She didn't just interview him, she openly praised him. Oprah Winfrey described Jay-Z as thoughtful and intelligent, even suggesting that he shifted her perspective on hip-hop culture. For many viewers, that endorsement carried weight. Oprah's platform has long been known for shaping mainstream perception. So when 50 Cent speaks about protection at the top, critics sometimes revisit moments like that, not as proof of wrongdoing, but as examples of how influence and visible support can affect public narratives. Then the discussion often widens to include Harvey Weinstein, years before the 2017 wave of public allegations against Weinstein, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation had entered business partnerships with the Weinstein Company. At the time, those collaborations were framed around socially conscious storytelling and film ventures. In an industry built on partnerships, the deals did not initially draw unusual attention. But once multiple sexual assault allegations surfaced, everything changed. Past business relationships, public appearances, and red carpet photographs were suddenly revisited under intense scrutiny. During that same period, additional records connected to Jeffrey Epstein became public, fueling broader conversations about elite networks and accountability. Observers began focusing not only on direct allegations, but on patterns of social and professional overlap among high-profile figures. Old interviews were replayed. In one instance, when broader topics such as mass incarceration were raised, some critics felt the discussion pivoted back toward entertainment ventures. For them, that fed into a larger debate about narrative framing, which issues gain sustained attention and which gradually fade. Another moment drew headlines in October 2017. Responding to the allegations against him, Weinstein paraphrased what he claimed was a lyric from Jay-Z's album 444, stating, "I'm not the man I thought I was, and I better be that man for my children." Media outlets later clarified that those exact words do not appear on the album. The misquote, nonetheless, briefly pulled Jay-Z's name into the controversy. Oprah, who had publicly interacted with Weinstein at industry events over the years, described the unfolding revelations as a watershed moment for Hollywood. Supporters viewed that as recognition of a turning point. Critics felt the wording was cautious, given the seriousness of the accusations. Social media accelerated the scrutiny. Archived photographs resurfaced. Commentary and memes spread rapidly. At one point, a singer reposted an image of Oprah greeting Weinstein, implying that powerful figures may have known more than they admitted. No verified evidence accompanied those suggestions, but in the digital era, visual proximity often evolves into suspicion. Still, association is not proof. Being photographed with someone or engaging in professional collaborations does not establish knowledge of criminal conduct. Yet in debates centered on influence and protection, proximity repeatedly becomes the focal point. Another frequently cited name in Epstein-related discussions is Bill Clinton. Official flight logs confirm that Clinton traveled on Epstein's private aircraft between 2002 and 2003 during international trips. His name appears multiple times in the logs, sometimes across separate flight segments, which is how the widely referenced figure of 26 trips originated. Several of those entries reflect portions of the same broader journeys. Destinations included Bangkok and other international cities. Clinton has stated that his travel was connected to philanthropic initiatives and that he was unaware of Epstein's criminal conduct at the time. And once again, a familiar pattern emerges: documented association, public scrutiny, debate over what proximity actually means. In conversations about power, influence, and accountability, that cycle continues to shape the narrative, particularly when prominent figures intersect across entertainment, business, and politics. The reported destinations listed in Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs included countries such as Brunei, Rwanda, Russia, and China. Those entries have been widely cited in public reporting, often within broader discussions about who traveled, when, and for what stated purpose. Ghislaine Maxwell's name also appears on some of the same logs, at times abbreviated as GM. Archival photographs show Epstein and Maxwell attending a White House-related reception in the early 1990s during a period when Bill Clinton was present. Records further indicate that Epstein made financial contributions connected to Clinton-affiliated fundraising initiatives years ago. Clinton's representatives have acknowledged that he traveled on Epstein's aircraft in connection with foundation-related work. They have consistently stated that he was unaware of Epstein's criminal conduct at the time, and have maintained that he never visited Epstein's private island. This is where Oprah Winfrey re-enters the broader conversation. Over the years, Oprah has interviewed Clinton on her platform. They have shared public stages and appeared cordial and professional in those settings. None of those appearances establish wrongdoing. However, in discussions about elite influence, critics sometimes examine who provides platforms to whom and how visibility can shape public perception. As the circle widens, another frequently mentioned figure is Bill Gates. Unlike rumor-driven speculation, Gates's meetings with Epstein have been publicly acknowledged. Gates has stated that he met with Epstein multiple times between 2011 and 2014, including meetings at Epstein's Manhattan residence. According to Gates, those discussions focused on philanthropy and global health initiatives, and he has maintained that he never visited Epstein's island. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has denied that foundation funds were directed to Epstein. Still, the association generated scrutiny. Melinda French Gates publicly stated that her former husband's interactions with Epstein troubled her deeply and were among the factors contributing to their 2021 divorce, noting that her concerns dated back to around 2011. Even with those explanations, public debate continued. Another name sometimes raised is Richard Branson. Reporting has referenced communications between Branson and Epstein around 2013. Branson's representatives have stated that any interactions were limited to professional or group settings, and that ties were cut once Epstein's misconduct became clear. And once again, Oprah's name surfaces, not because of allegations against her, but because she has interviewed or publicly engaged with figures such as Jay-Z, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and Richard Branson over the years. Critics argue that influential media platforms can shape how audiences perceive powerful individuals. Supporters counter that interviewing someone or sharing a public stage does not imply knowledge of or involvement in their private actions. So when 50 Cent speaks about powerful people protecting powerful people, many interpret it not as a direct accusation toward a single individual, but as a broader critique of elite overlap. Billionaires, politicians, media leaders, and cultural icons who often move within interconnected circles. It remains essential to distinguish documented association from proven misconduct. Public appearances, collaborations, and shared events do not automatically establish wrongdoing. Yet, in ongoing debates about influence, access, and accountability, proximity continues to be one of the most contested themes. In one resurfaced clip, a speaker speculated that powerful figures may have been present in inappropriate environments, whether knowingly or unknowingly. The remarks reflected the long-running cloud of suspicion surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's network. But speculation, no matter how viral, is not the same as verified fact. The Joe Rogan Experience host, Joe Rogan, reignited attention when he stated publicly that some individuals he personally knows were named in Epstein-related documents. His comments followed a significant document release by the U.S. Department of Justice, tied to Epstein investigations. According to official summaries, the release involved millions of pages of investigative material, along with thousands of videos and photographs. Many portions were heavily redacted. The records referenced a wide range of public figures, politicians, executives, donors, and international personalities, who had varying levels of documented contact with Epstein over the years. It's important to clarify. Appearing in a contact book, flight log, calendar entry, or email exchange does not automatically establish wrongdoing. In many instances, such records confirm association, not criminal conduct. However, when prominent names repeatedly surface in proximity to Epstein, public scrutiny naturally intensifies. During one discussion, Rogan said he believes the full truth about Epstein's network may never be completely revealed. He speculated about possible intelligence connections, but acknowledged that those theories remain unproven. Allegations linking Epstein to intelligence agencies have circulated for years, yet no definitive public evidence has confirmed them. Rogan also revisited commentary from Alex Jones, who had long claimed that powerful individuals were being compromised on Epstein's private island, Little St. James. Rogan admitted he once dismissed those warnings as exaggerated, but later found it unsettling that Epstein's criminal conduct itself proved real, even if broader conspiracy narratives remain unverified. Political tensions escalated when House Democrats released emails obtained from the Epstein estate. In a 2011 exchange between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein referenced Donald Trump in a message that later drew media attention. The exact meaning and context of that reference remain debated. Epstein and Trump were known to have socialized during the 90s and early 2000s. In prior legal proceedings, Epstein invoked his Fifth Amendment rights when questioned about certain matters. After Epstein's 2019 arrest, Trump stated publicly that he had not spoken to Epstein in roughly 15 years, saying he distanced himself after observing behavior he found concerning, and that Epstein was later barred from Mar-a-Lago. As with many individuals connected to Epstein's social orbit, public records confirm past associations. But legal accountability depends on evidence of specific actions, not simply shared events, photographs, or documented contact. Across all of these cases, one central tension continues to shape the discussion: proximity versus proof, being in the same room, appearing on the same flight logs, showing up in the same address book. Those details generate headlines and suspicion, but documented association alone does not establish criminal responsibility. It's that unresolved gap between confirmed connections and proven misconduct that continues to keep this story at the center of public debate. Donald Trump has stated publicly that he cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein years before Epstein's 2019 arrest, and that Epstein was removed from his property. In reporting cited by author Michael Wolff, A 2019 email allegedly written by Epstein claimed that Trump had asked him to resign from a club membership and was aware of certain concerns at the time. The context and interpretation of those claims remain disputed, and those involved have offered differing accounts. With each new document release, older details resurface. Some observers point out that certain names appeared years ago, were dismissed as rumor or coincidence, and are now reappearing within documented timelines, confirmed communications, or verified social interactions connected to Epstein's broader network. That pattern has renewed scrutiny. Speculation surrounding Epstein's 2019 death also persists. The official ruling determined it was a suicide. However, some commentators have questioned reported surveillance failures and procedural irregularities at the detention facility, arguing that unanswered issues remain. Others maintain that the official findings stand unless credible new evidence emerges. As of now, no conclusive public evidence has overturned the original determination. Media commentators and podcast hosts, including Joe Rogan, have asked how a detainee at the center of a major trafficking investigation could have been in a position where security lapses occurred. These conversations often blend institutional concerns with broader speculation, reflecting ongoing public skepticism about how events unfolded. Another debated thread involves Bill Gates. Certain released materials reportedly referenced communications between Gates and Epstein, along with a photograph of Gates with a woman whose identity was blurred in media coverage. Some outlets alleged emails referenced sensitive personal matters and possible reputational leverage. Gates has firmly denied those claims, stating they are false, and asserting that Epstein sometimes exaggerated his connections with prominent individuals to elevate his own status. This feeds into a recurring question raised by commentators. If Epstein was allegedly seeking leverage over influential figures, why did some continue meeting with him? Supporters argued those meetings were related to philanthropy or business discussions, and that Epstein overstated his access. Critics counter that repeated contact, regardless of purpose, invites scrutiny. Across all these discussions, one theme remains central: access and influence. How did Epstein maintain relationships with politicians, billionaires, media executives, and cultural figures for so long? Were those interactions strictly professional or social? Or was there a more complicated dynamic beneath the surface? Public records confirm that Epstein interacted with numerous high-profile individuals, but documented association is not the same as proven criminal conduct. Legal accountability depends on evidence of specific actions, not simply shared meetings, photographs, or correspondence. That dividing line between proximity and proof continues to define the debate.